Welcome to Hockey on Tap Podcast, episode 126, East is Beast. I'm your host, Bill Dean. Of course, here with my two co-hosts. Schwim is not here. He's a POS. But it's Little Steve and Shorts Guy. We're brought to you by Primetime
Hey.
Radio, courtesy of Mr. Sam Wu.
Hey.
I am behind the glass today. We're brought to you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you would be so kind. Gentlemen, what are we drinking?
I got something to hopefully spring a little bit of luck here, although I'm sure
Penguin
it's going to
luck?
do the complete opposite. Yeah. What a train
we'll
wreck.
get into that.
Anyway, this one is by KCBC, Kings
I
County
love it.
Brewers Collective, out of Brooklyn, New York,
fantastic.
called Penguins of the North.
Ooh,
Hey.
I like
Look
it.
at those guys.
Very good. Very
Very
good.
nice.
Those guys.
I don't know which way I'm going.
There you
Yeah, the
go.
artwork's pretty cool. Bunch of like Penguin Vikings. It's just a hazy New England IPA. Nothing super special, but we'll give it a try. The
know-
question is, do I enjoy it in a glass or in my dogfish thing?
I think that might be a big glass. I want to see the color.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's
Fair
worth
enough.
the glass.
Are you guys ready to take a tour of my kitchen?
Yes.
Tune in, because here we go. Firstly, I'm going to model my pajama pants because I only wear the finest of attire for this. And into this cabinet here, we enter the glasses. As we can see, all on display.
Now, do you
Now, which
notice
one
that
will I
there's
take?
nothing above the third rack?
Yep. There's
Yeah,
a whole empty shelf there.
It has nothing to do with my height. It has everything to do with the amount of glasses that I have.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
let's see. Let's have this big bastard here.
Ooh, I
My
like it.
vase.
Those are all. I love that
Ah.
glass. I'm a big fan of that glass.
I look
All
at
right,
that
guys, I'm
glass
back.
and- I look
was
at
a
that glass
great
and all I
tour.
think of is it's such a pain in the ass to clean.
Yeah,
I've been-
I mean, I stick it in the
Yeah.
dishwasher. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whoa, look at me. I have a dishwasher.
Dishwasher. Fancy.
Yeah.
Wait,
Seriously.
Steve, you have a dishwasher too, don't you?
I do.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
look
thought
at
I saw
you
that.
two having a dishwasher. You want to see my dishwasher? Right
Ooh.
here. These guys.
Ooh, I like
Ooh.
it.
I do
yeah.
almost wash everything by hand because I never accumulate that many dishes to necessitate an
yeah.
entire dishwasher.
I fill up the dishwasher
That was-
every chance I get.
If that was me, I would just use everything until I didn't have any more and then let the dishwasher run.
Yeah, no, there's
Oh.
tons of baby stuff as well as just regular
Uh-oh.
dishes that are
See-
accumulated.
I made a
over week.
mistake.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
You didn't tip, did you?
What'd you do?
No, we're good. I almost overflowed.
Bad head.
See. Almost sounds
Not
like it.
gonna-
See, William, you have this thing that Steve and I don't have. It's called a family, and there's more than
Yeah.
one of you in the house.
I do have a family.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's more than just one of us. There's more than
They use a
just one
lot
you.
of dishes.
Yes.
Dishes and talk to Beth. The amount of laundry that she does in a week is absurd. I am personally ruining the world right now with my amount of water usage in this house.
I believe it.
See, I live under the law of conservation of dishes. If there's anything I can reuse for, like my coffee cup from this morning became my dinner cup tonight at the same spoon.
I reuse cups.
the
reuse
law of
cup-
conservation of dishes.
I also reuse water
all right.
bottles, but right now our filter's not working, so I've been,
Ooh, la di
that's
da! I have a
unfortunate.
filter. My water just comes from. Excuse me, my water just comes from 300 feet under my house.
Well, that's delicious spring water. I have run through the pipe tap.
That's well
from
water.
Randolph community. So
Yeah, I love my well water. Anyway, back to the
water's
beer.
delicious.
So, well water is delicious. You're more than welcome to have some when you're
Oh.
here next. I'm going full traditional, as I believe I went last year. And in honor of my family
Oh, there it
heritage,
is.
I'm having a Guinness because St.
There's a
Patrick's Day
Guinness.
was Friday.
I love
This is my
I
last.
love Guinness.
Yeah, this is this is the last of my 4-pack from Friday. I did have one with a traditional I guess American Irish traditional corned beef and cabbage on Friday night. So poured into my tipple glass. Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah, baby.
Caitlin,
Yeah, buddy. Let it
I
settle.
like it. I like
Anyway.
the color.
Yeah.
Caitlin saying Bill over here living the high life. She also says you need a step stool, Steve. And then Ray
Yeah,
Leo,
looks like it.
of course, no schwim tonight. So, yep.
Yeah,
he
I
is
wonder
no
why he's
schwim.
skipping.
Regular old
Apparently, he feels
POS.
sick. I don't know what would have caused that.
I mean, you have bad guacamole and you can't stop, but that's what happens. I, on the other hand, got Black Project, Spontaneous and Wild Ales. It is called Matador. It's a sour ale with raspberry, strawberry, and cocoa nibs. No lactose for Steven.
Very nice.
How about that?
I'm impressed.
Yeah, of course, Guy. All right, guys, let's get to what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. East is beast. I put that in the thing. Clearly the teams. Yep, he's got it right there. Clearly the teams in the Eastern Conference have always been, for the last couple of years, they've been just better in almost every right than.
Exception of last year.
Yeah, I mean Colorado, but if you chose Colorado as one, I would have said the next 5 are in the East.
Yes, I agree.
It's like been always very top heavy. You got the Bruins at 1, Toronto holding up at 93 points, Carolina, and the Devils at 98 and 97. Really, the top team in the West. Carolina, the Debs.
Who? The Devils? Who are?
They're 97 points.
I know. A 40-point.
This is like
40 points
heavy
better
lifting.
than last year.
Yeah, you're doing some weightlifting. 40 points. That's a very, very good point. So Vegas and the Pacific's at 92 points. They lead the entire Western Conference. There is 6 teams in the East ahead of Vegas.
The crazy thing is that you could see those 6 teams as potential Stanley Cup winners more so than Vegas. Mm-hmm. Even beyond the record and points thing, it's like there's 6 teams in the East that you could see winning the Cup, and I don't know, none in the West maybe. I still think Colorado is probably the best in the West.
Colorado can turn it on. Colorado has that team that has done it before, so if healthy, they can definitely turn it on. I could see maybe. Oh, there's Melvin. I could see maybe Vegas being able to turn it on, but no one else in the West has actually proven that they can do it. I mean, everyone will probably want to say, "Oh, look at the Oilers," but they're not proven winners. So I don't even count them in that conversation yet. They got to prove it to win it.
Yeah. Boston, Tampa, Toronto, obviously, Devils, Rangers, Hurricanes. Obviously, Hurricanes with the bad news. Actually, after we left our episode last week with Svechnikov tearing his ACL, or just ACL or Achilles. I forget which one it was, but he's done for the year. And that's a big blow. And we talked about how Carolina maybe should have made a bigger move outside of
what's his name?
The kid from Edmonton.
Yeah. The was it Norwegian?
Puyarvi,
no,
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Puyarvi.
They got Ghost Bear. Didn't he go there?
Yeah, Ghost Bear.
Bear went there. Yeah.
And he's obviously better than the 6th defenseman that they had going. But you have those teams, and then you look at some of the teams creeping up. Islanders right now holding down that 7th spot, and then the 8th spot is Penguins. But right on their heels are the Florida Panthers, who have, the last 10 games they're 7-2-1. They've really come on. Paul Maurice is kind of up that team, and they're a little bit of a scary team if they can get going here. And it kind of leads, Steve, to your Penguins. You have the good luck can and the good luck beer, but I mean, not just the Ranger game where they beat them 6-0, but you've seen multiple times throughout the year where the Penguins, if things go bad, it goes real bad down real quick. And I guess what on your a scary meter from 0 to 10. What's how worried are you? Where's your level of angst, and what do you think's going on with this team? What do they need to do? And is it can they? So right now they're at 69 games played, 78 points. Florida's also at 69 games played. Same thing with Buffalo, and Washington Capitals are 2 games ahead. So what's your level of worry here?
I mean, I'm kind of a realist, so I don't necessarily worry, but the probability of when I said that they probably would make the playoffs is kind of lessening at this point. Well, first of all, 2/3 of their defensive unit is now injured, with 3 out of 4 of them on long-term injured reserve. That's a problem, and they have, three culprits basically on a nightly basis that. We'll focus on the two between Carter and Dumoulin that just, for whatever reason, management and Sullivan just will not touch. And they went as Sullivan went so far as to call out the media for calling them out, saying that they're easy targets, so on and so forth. But he's going to keep playing them, so we're stuck with these guys. I don't know what they're going to look like when they're fully healthy, if they ever get fully healthy, or with these all these LTIR defensive players, it might not even come before the end of the season, and they might be out of the playoffs by then. But they're not going anywhere, and I don't mean like a run. I'm talking about making the playoffs unless Tristan Jarry figures out how to play goalie again, because he's been pulled. He's been pulled 4 out of his last 11 starts. And he actually played very well in that loss to the Rangers, the 4-2 loss, obviously not the 6-0 loss. Which DeSmith came in, didn't play much better. That was actually pretty funny. Well, I was laughing at least about the goaltending situation in a nutshell. Yeah. Well, just Jarry gets. Yeah, well, the Ranger fans, taunting Jarry when DeSmith was in goal.
was the outside goalie.
Pretty great. You have the smartest fan base, Billy Dean.
I mean, everybody has dumb idiots, and we're no exception.
Hey, guys. Pot, I would like to introduce you to Kettle.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Oh, I don't.
Shake hands in the middle.
I know.
Steve, what was that?
Anyway.
Carter was a -4 in like 4 minutes of play in that game against.
It was 5 minutes. 5 minutes and change. This is against Montreal the other night. It was 5 minutes and change of 5-on-5 play. He played a tad under 9 minutes for the game, but a little over 5 minutes of 5-on-5 and finished a -4, which is hard to do, I would think. But yeah, I mean, he's been. I mean, there's a whole mess of statistics that these reporters from Pittsburgh have come up with about how detrimental these two are for the team. There was at one point before the 6-0 drubbing, the combination of Carter and Dumoulin were on for 9 of the past 11 goals against.
Yep.
So I don't know. There's no at this point there's no easy fix. But I know Ray Leo's asking is Hextall out after the season? I don't know, because in order for that to happen, I mean, you need Brian Burke to get involved, and Brian Burke is with him every step of the way. Yeah. And beyond that, it's ownership, and ownership is nowhere to be seen. Fenway Sports came in and bought the team up last season. They were very involved. I can't remember, Tom something, I think, was present at games often. And now no one is anywhere to be seen. So whether or not they just forgot that they bought the Penguins and it's just kind of on the back of their mind or something, I have no idea. I have no idea what could possibly change, but the moves that have been made beyond locking up the core, because those moves were great. I think they signed great contracts. Term, like I said, when they signed it, term means nothing, because after 3 years, they're rebuilding. So whether or not those guys are there, they're not going to be cap struck, because they're basically going to have to rebuild. Yeah. So I thought that was great, and everything beyond that has been a complete nightmare. And then you thought that they were making moves in the right direction with, trading off these salaries and opening up cap space, only to get Mikhail Granlund's $5 million contract for him to play bottom 6 minutes and do completely nothing at this point. So yeah, it's bizarre, and it goes, Jarry's up for a contract extension. Does Hextall try to get that done after he's hurt most of the year, last 2 seasons, and terrible inconsistencies? So no, I don't know where we're headed.
I like that they brought in defensive depth, right? You had not at the beginning of the season, you had 9 defensemen on salary, right, under the cap,
Right.
and I understand having depth, but you also wasted cap space on guys that clearly were not going to play, and that were going to be AHL fodder, but you still are carrying some cap from those players, and you wasted that instead of using those resources to grow a better bottom six, and also a better goalie category, because really the cat, yeah. Because really, the big issue with you guys is your goaltending was atrocious against the Rangers. If we talked about it, if the goalies were switched, you guys would have been winning that game. That's how bad DeSmith and
I mean, or even just like some goal. The Penguins, by all means, dominated almost the entirety of a 6-0 loss. I've never seen that before. I've seen, you see teams dominate and lose. I've never seen teams dominate and lose by a touchdown. I've never seen that happen before.
And the big thing was Shesterkin stood on his head for the Rangers, and that's going to be one of my next points, is that he's starting to turn, and I'm liking that a lot. But you mentioned Brian Burke, and I just wanted to have a good shout out for him. So everybody knows about what happened with James Reimer in San Jose. He chose not to wear the Pride uniforms. He had a response, just about his beliefs, and I don't really care. I don't want to go into that. But this was Burke's, and Brian Burke, who obviously is with the Penguins. He was Reimer's president of hockey operations with Toronto. He said, excuse me, and I quote, "I repeat that I'm extremely disappointed. I wish players would understand that the Pride sweaters are about inclusion and welcoming everybody. A player wearing Pride colors or tape isn't endorsing a set of values or enlisting in a cause. He is saying you are welcome here. You are here in every single NHL building." And that's what I guess the players don't understand. They think that, and I'm using this, they think that if you put on the jersey, you're going to turn gay. And that's obviously, or you're supporting all you're doing is you're saying that they are allowed to come in the building, that we welcome them. We want them in our thing. We want them as fans. And that's, Burke, what he said, I applaud that. And his son, Brendan, his late son, Brendan, who obviously, had some issues. He was, in the LGBTQ community, and he took his own life, I believe. And, it's things like that where, players just don't understand it, and that's where the Rangers lost it and really turned on those fans. Same thing with Minnesota, and I understand that they were having issues with the Russian players and the whole mandate with Russia about how if players support or people support, then they're going to have issues. And I know that some of the players, there are rumors that some of the players were worried about their family back in Russia. If they wore the jerseys, that they'd have repercussions placed on them. And I understand that, but those players don't have to wear the jersey, but the rest of the team should have worn the jerseys in Minnesota and in New York. So Burke came out with that quote, and I liked it, and I felt like I wanted to share that one because I understand inclusion and wanting everybody in the arena, because hockey really is for everyone. Unfortunately, a lot of people have made it not about everyone, and it's disappointing, but for everybody out there, it is for you. We want you to be part of the game. We want you to come in and watch and enjoy what we watch. I mean, I love hockey. It's my favorite thing outside my family, and eat, sleep, and breathe it, coached it, and played it, not very well, but played it. And, it means so much. And I just want everybody to see how great of a sport this really is.
Yeah, it's a great quote by Burke. I think it was said perfectly. I don't even think I need to elaborate any further beyond what he said. I think that was, it's what it means. So hopefully, some of these players can kind of reevaluate the meaning behind a lot of these things and join in a good cause. The entire, it's hockey is for everyone. But when it comes to being inclusive, it seems like that's the thing the players want to make their little protests about, right? So, education, hopefully,
yep.
Hopefully they get, this is all learning experience, and good for Burke for getting that out there.
Shorts guy, I think I did cut you off before about the Penguins. Was there something you wanted to say about, you're worried about this team or what you're looking at?
No, My worry is not really about the team. What I was going to say to Steven was just give us some time at FSG, because what I was looking up was FSG bought Liverpool in 2010, and the best move that they made was 5 years later by hiring Jurgen Klopp, who brought them trophies that they hadn't won in forever. So FSG will make an improvement in your team, Steven. It's not going to be. It may not be right away. Plus, you you guys are going to have the unfortunate figuring out of how to walk away from your star players like Crosby and Malkin, who are the franchise, and that's something that they will oversee. But I think if you give it a little bit of time, FSG is not one of those, well, we're just going to throw buckets and buckets and buckets of money at things and make things better right away. It did take a couple of years for Liverpool to improve to the juggernaut that they became. Unfortunately, not this season, but FSG will eventually make an improvement. So it almost seems like FSG likes to watch what the team does and then make some moves from there. But it still perplexes me to all hell. It still perplexes me to all hell that your GM is a legend of a rival.
Yeah. I was actually, Steve, do you think that do you think that Hextall, with the opening in Philly, that maybe he would want to jump ship?
I mean, he was already there, so I can't imagine Philly takes him back.
President of operations.
He's already, as far as management goes, he's pretty universally disliked over there in Philadelphia for what he did. So, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't. If they miss the playoffs, something's got to happen, right? I don't know what it's going to be, but especially the whole culture behind the Penguins is to, these are Crosby's last 3 years of this current contract, not of his career yet. And they want to make sure they compete to win. And every move beyond locking up the core has been almost presenting as sabotage. And I'm not one for conspiracy theories. I know that when Hextall was hired, they're like, oh, here comes, the guy coming in to rot the systems of the core and completely sabotage their chances because he's a flyer. And of course, I don't believe that. But now it's like a lot of the moves, you're like, this is some pieces are kind of what everyone was warning about. Yeah, I don't like to make that seem true, but it's been a weird, especially shaky this season, and the contract extension and it goes even to the expansion draft with Seattle with him, and not, expansion draft comes around, you lose a player, right? And he lost 2, and I don't understand how you let that happen. One who's now currently a 30-goal scorer over in Seattle. Actually, they both end up in Seattle, but yeah, and the players he chose to protect, one being Carter, another being Bluger, who's traded out to Vegas now. So,
yeah, it's weird.
So I did want to talk to you guys about, there was a list that came out by the Athletic. It was the 10 biggest disappointments of the 2022-23 season so far. The NHL is obviously harsh. It's results-focused business, and not a lot of players. They come in and different situation. And the first guy obviously on this list is Jonathan Huberdeau. Gets traded after being with Florida for so long, and obviously not having a very good year, especially after tying Johnny Gaudreau for second in the Art Ross Trophy race with 150 last season. He had 115 points last season, but he was traded that Tkachuk blockbuster. He's just 40 points in 60 games. It's a 54-point pace, which would amount to a whopping 61-point decline this season. It's obviously catastrophic. It's a big reason why Calgary might not make the playoffs. Is he your biggest disappointment this year, player-wise?
I mean, he's definitely up there. I certainly didn't expect this, especially based on the offensive production that the Tkachuk and Gaudreau and Lindholm had last year. Not that he's those players, but based on the season that he had and the seasons that those other players had with this organization, I thought it was basically like almost like a not quite an even trade swap there, but I did not expect this far of a fall. But I will say that at least some of it might have to do with coaching.
Yeah. And apparently that's also rubbing off on Nazem Kadri. He had some choice comments about the coaching and what's going on, and maybe there's a disconnect between the coach and the players.
Sutter's he's notoriously a difficult guy to work with. He's had a lot of success and he runs a solid defensive system, but he's not a player favorite. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Nope.
Some of the guys on this list, Oliver Ekman-Larsson with the Canucks. He's had a really bad year. I think he's outscored.
Everyone on the Canucks has had a bad year.
Yeah, but
he's kind of been having bad years.
Well, yeah, he's been outscored 22 goals at 5-on-5, and he's been worth minus 1.2 wins above replacement according to the game started. Jack Campbell has been really bad, and now they have Stuart Skinner as their starter. Him, by the way, 5-year, $25 million contract, so another 4 years at $5 million per.
Yeah, but you knew that.
No one's taking
because you knew he was going to have a bad season because Edmonton always does this with goalies.
Yeah. It's real bad. Aaron Ekblad, I mean, mostly because of injuries, but he's also it's been tough on him the whole year. He hasn't been the same without Mackenzie Weegar. He says just 28 points in 53 games. It's just his defensive play has fallen off a cliff. 3.37 actual goals against per 60 minutes, which is not good at all. So now Ekblad's up there. Obviously, Carter. We talked about Jeff Carter. He was, he's at what is he? $9 million. What's his contract at? He's at 3.125 cap hit, and he's
for another year.
Yeah, he scored just 12 5-on-5 points all the entire season. John Klingberg, he's with the Wild.
Speaking of.
Yep. Reportedly, it was only 12 months ago that he was looking for a 8-year, $60 million extension that the Stars were willing to give him, and he said no to that. Now he's on a 1-year, $70 million contract. It's looking like he's going to have another 1-year deal after this.
Another 1 year.
Yeah.
He's real bad defensively. He's always kind of been lousy defensively, but he's real bad defensively, and he's not putting up the offensive numbers to compensate.
Yep. Markstrom finished second last year in Vezina Trophy voting, but's now rocking an .890 save percentage. Justin Wolf, he's an elite prospect in the AHL, so I could see them, moving away from him next season. Steve, he might be a good flyer to come get, but Markstrom's had a tough year with Calgary, and I could see him being moved.
I just saw there was a highlight of they lost to Dallas recently, and he was thinking it was goalie interference, and he was just losing his shit.
Yeah, that's a frustrating goalie.
Smashed his stick. Yeah, and trust me, I know what it's like to be frustrated. As a frustrated goalie, where things just aren't going your way. No matter what you're doing, you can't get into that groove, and it does suck. And there are times where you're in it. Steve, you played goal too. There are just times you get in these ruts, and you're like, no matter what you do, you just can't get out of them. And you can just tell the frustration on him with that goal against Dallas. But I was watching that going, man, I wish I had a stick budget to where I could do that occasionally.
Yeah.
Just
that would be nice.
Bust a stick like that, because there have been times where I've wanted to, but I was like, yeah, I don't have $125 to buy a new stick.
Nope. The entire St. Louis Blues defense, the top four, right? Parayko, Torrey Krug, Nick Leddy, and Justin Falk make a combined $23.5 million, which is about 30% of the cap, and they've been utterly atrocious. And other than their goaltender, one of the reasons why they stink so badly and are not going to make the playoffs. Anthony Mantha, who can't stay healthy, and of course he's making $5.7 million on a Caps team that's, been really bad. I guess I'd still want Verana, really, if you thought about it. Both of them haven't been great, but he has 1 goal and 6 points in his last 25 games. And then lastly, Thatcher Demko, obviously he was a workhorse, Vezina Trophy possibility, but this year's just been bad. 883 save percentage through 15 games before being sidelined with an injury against the Panthers in December, and he's been good since coming back, but it's been a tough year for Demko. Ray Leo was saying teams, he said Columbus has to be top of the list. Obviously, for teams, I would agree that they're, that they're one of the tops. Yeah, he did say, "I hope we aren't going to ignore the Binnington Flower situation." Nope, that was coming up. I was so hoping that they would have let Marc-Andre Fleury go at Binnington. I wanted him to beat the ever-living daylights out of him. And did you guys? I didn't pull up the quote. What was the quote that Flower had?
It's about his hair.
Yeah, I might have saved it
because he wanted to go get his equipment. The whole exchange with the referee or linesman was funny, but Binnington is. I mean,
Binnington.
He's entertaining. He's entertaining me. I mean,
he's entertaining.
He's just
he's a character.
I don't know.
He's a character in the league, but in the position he plays, you can't be a character in the league and be a loose cannon and expect good goaltending out of someone like that.
I just can't. I can't imagine that the St. Louis fans love him because he's entertaining. But I don't how can you be okay with
because he won them a cup because he won them a cup. He won them a cup, and they love him for that. And it's kind of like that, that person we all know that they do one great thing, and then you just kind of let the rest of the shit slide. When he is on, holy hell, is he a damn good goalie? But he just lets his emotions get the better of him, which as a goalie, that's one of the worst things you can do because that can sabotage your game in the worst way. But I also heard this kind of
he let up a goal, which put them down, by the way, then charged at Hartman with his blocker, got a match penalty, and then turns to try and pump up the crowd. Like, what are you doing, man? You just
apparently
crowd is pumping up. Like, you're losing now.
But here's kind of an alternate take that I heard about it. If you think about it, with the season that St. Louis has had, he is actually showing emotion on a team that, for all intents and purposes, hasn't really given a shit. A lot of those guys seem like they just don't care, and he's at least showing some passion for the team and for the city, and that'll spark a fan base to love you no matter what. If you're going out there, that's not his role to get into a fight and to go out there and to get the team going like that. But if he's the only one in your team that's showing a little bit of heart for the jersey, that's going to go a long way with the fans, and that's going to help them. Help them love them.
I don't think any of it has to do with the jersey. None of it. I think this is all. It's literally all about him. And I think St. Louis is a playoff contender with a goalie.
Yeah, but whether or not he's doing it for the jersey or not, he's one of the few that's showing any type of passion on the ice a lot of the nights. So that's going to translate.
There's some guys that are still doing relatively decent on that squad. Some of the newcomers, Jacob Vrana is doing very well. Kapanen's doing well for them. Their defensive core looks like trash, but I think you see questionable defensive abilities out of some of those guys, but you'd be surprised how much worse your defense looks when you don't have a goalie who stops the puck.
It makes it real bad. So obviously Binnington 3-game suspension handed down. Here's Fleury. For Fleury, though, it was a goalie fight, opportunity missed. Fleury dejected, skating back to his net. I'll just get my stuff. I don't like having my hair look like this, So he's all upset about his hair. Apparently, he said that he wanted to get in the fight, and I guess he had gotten, shrugged, nudged by
it would have been his first
Svechnikov or something. Yeah, that he had a little bit of an itch to maybe get in a fight. And Binnington's definitely one of the guys that'll give you a goalie fight. So I really hope that there's some tender that comes out and beats the Everland daylights out of him, because it would be just absolutely funny.
I don't know that Fleury would have been that guy, but I still would like to see
maybe
it.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know how Fleury would have done.
Fleury.
In that fight. I think Binnington is just crazy, so he probably would have just destroyed Fleury. But there's really nothing like a good goalie fight. We don't see them enough.
No. All right. Some near and dear to my heart stuff, especially UMass being so good recently. They're not in this tournament, but the NCAA men's tourney, Frozen Four, is out. The bracket's set. The top 4 teams are Minnesota, Michigan, defending champ Denver, and then Quinnipiac, who has the best record in college hockey. I'm not going to bore with you guys all the brackets, but a couple players to watch if you are going to watch the tournament, just because it is really good. Obviously, number 1 has to be Adam Fantilli from Michigan. He's a likely top 3 pick in this draft 2023. He's a fantastic combination of just his size is awesome, but he skates so well and has top end skill. He really is one of the best to watch in all of college hockey. So I highly recommend watching Michigan games. I don't like doing this, but Luke Hughes, Michigan defense, Devils prospect. He's going to be in the Hobey Baker conversation as well. Great offensive skater. He's just awesome at the back end. So he's another fun guy for Michigan. Michigan's loaded, by the way. Michigan, if they don't win this,
he will be tormenting you for years to come, Billy.
It's all right. I'm okay with it. You guys love Adam Fox. You'll have to deal with Adam Fox and Kendra Miller, and I'll have to deal with Nemec and him. So, Logan Cooley, Minnesota. He was 3rd overall by the Coyotes last summer. He's a lot of fun to watch for Minnesota. Cutter Gauthier from Boston College, another former first-round pick for the Flyers. Unfortunately, Devon Levi was not able to make it from Northeastern, but he's actually just signed a 3-year deal with Buffalo, and he'll be making his debut coming up soon. But there's a lot of other really good players in this, so I highly recommend. Frank Nazar from Michigan. Michigan, like I said, if Michigan doesn't win this tournament, it's an embarrassment. I know that Quinnipiac has the best record, but they have Rucker McGroarty. It's amazing how much Minnesota is. But Denver plays probably the best team hockey and extremely, extremely good. Talking really quickly about the men's, I just had it. What did I miss it? The Hobey Baker is up for nomination, and I lost. Sorry. Here it is. Sorry. So the Hobey Baker finalists for this year, there's 10 of them. Fantilli is one of them. He's obviously, like we talked about, top 3 pick. You have Logan Cooley from Minnesota, Fantilli from Michigan, Sean Farrell from Harvard, who had 51 points, 3rd in the nation. You have Colin Graff from Quinnipiac, who had 54 points, 2nd in the nation. Lane Hudson from Boston University led all defensemen in scoring with 44 points. He's a freshman. Matthew Nyes from Minnesota. He had 21 goals and led the country with 7 game-winning goals. Levi, obviously, he's going to win most likely the Mike Richter Trophy for best goaltender, which he won last year as well, but he's in the conversation. Yaniv Peretz from Quinnipiac, who has the lowest goals against average in all of NCAA Division I men's hockey. And then you also have the senior goalie from Michigan, Blake Patella, coming up for the Hobies. So very good cast, and like I said, watch some college hockey this coming up. It's fantastic.
What is that going to be on? What's that going to be on?
So they are having
some NHL network.
ESPNU has a bunch of games. ESPN2. It all starts regional finals Saturday. So Saturday. This is starting Friday. You're gonna have a bunch of teams playing around here. The national championship is April 8th on ESPN2.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna try to watch some of that. It's always a really good tournament, and
it's fun.
Sacred Heart did not make it, just like your Minutemen just didn't make it. But whatever, it is what it is. It should be a good tournament to watch, and if Michigan loses early, that means Luke Hughes comes to us a little bit early. So
true. Yeah, you almost kind of want that, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, in a sense, because April 8th. Because what? I'm looking at the schedule now. I should have had this up like a smart individual. Yeah, so let's say he goes to April 8th. That gives 2 games for him to potentially get in the lineup, Buffalo and Washington. I mean, definitely they could potentially throw him in against Buffalo, but that'd be a baptism by fire to be like, hey, welcome to the team. Here you go, play against Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's Washington to finish it off on the 13th of April there. I don't know. But if Michigan's out, Luke Hughes comes to the Devils. He can at least practice with them and kind of get maybe thrown down to Utica for the playoffs in the A.
Is he eligible for NHL playoffs if he comes over?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't
think he would be.
Yeah, because he's within your system. I don't think that counts as because
Chris Kreider did it with Boston. Sometimes they're not.
No, but Chris Kreider did it with Boston College because he was in the playoffs for Boston. He played in his first couple games. I think he went to the NHL and then played in the playoffs against Ottawa.
I think maybe it depends when the entry level deal is signed. Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll have to look into that.
Well, we'll find out. That's for sure.
We talked about Devon Levi. Josh Doan signs an ELC with the Coyotes, following in his dad's footsteps. Shane, he played at Arizona State University the last 2 years. We obviously
just got to move across the locker room, or across the hallway.
We had women's college hockey, which I want to get the ladies in here too. Wisconsin upsets Ohio State to win NCAA women's hockey title. It was a 1-0 victory. Kirsten Sims with the first period goal, which stood up. And then the redshirt senior goalie, Cami Cronish, with a 31 save performance. So Wisconsin, the Badgers, win their 7th national title, which broke a tie with Minnesota for the most ever in a women's college program. Mark Johnson, former, USA great, is the head coach. So good for Mark Johnson in USA. Let's see here. What else we got? John Carlson, and he's expecting his return, I think they said possibly
soon, right?
This weekend coming up, right? Yeah. I didn't realize, and maybe I just missed this, but at the time, but do you remember that his injury was due to a slap shot? He fractured his skull.
Yeah. And
laceration of the temporal artery when he was, I didn't, maybe I just missed that, but very impressive to see him coming back. I remember, Matt Zuccarello taking a slap shot from, McDonough in the playoffs, and it broke. I think it did fracture his skull, but it also made it so he couldn't speak. And I don't know how hard that was for him to come back. And it is impressive. I don't like John Carlson as a defenseman. He's a very good offensive defenseman. But for him to come back, and I hope he excels and is able to play well, because that's. Hockey guys, man, really tough. That's pretty crazy to see that someone like that comes back.
Yeah. And just think, idiots like me choose to voluntarily get in the way of those pucks.
Yeah, I was lacrosse.
Forwards and defensemen just happen to get hit occasionally, but I'm the idiot.
It still hurts.
Yes. I don't doubt it, because I've been on that forward side too, but I voluntarily choose to get in the way.
Schwimm's Tampa Bay Lightning. They did have an honor for three legends. Obviously, the first one being LeCavalier, the second one being Marty St. Louis, and then you had Espo. They dropped the ceremonial puck on Saturday.
Espo was so hard to listen to on Sunday.
That was their inaugural pass the Lightning Hall.
He's one of the worst, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I know that he's kind of helped develop hockey down there, the co-founder of the franchise. Like he's a very integral part to the Lightning, but it is so hard to watch him now, especially just it's real bad. And hopefully they're able to do something.
Yeah, he should take a step back from that radio broadcasting.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
I would say yes. However, if it continues to bother Schwim, let him keep going. Let him keep going.
I don't think it bothers him that much.
No, he doesn't like him. He told me.
I know.
He told me the other night he doesn't like him.
He's tough. That Columbus overtime game when they went to like 5 overtimes or whatever we were listening to in the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
He didn't even talk. He just like grunted into the microphone over.
I love it. Schwim is
way past his bedtime.
He is.
Hey, how did Schwim's Lightning do last night? Anybody know?
So let's talk about it. Lightning 5-4-1 in their last 10. They lose the Devils 5-2 after beating the Devils 4-3 and 4-1 the week before. They had three of the last 4 games were against the Devils.
That's what Pittsburgh and New York just did.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a mini playoff series.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, schedule makers are ridiculous, especially because you had the Islanders and Rangers played like 3 games straight out of the bat, and then they haven't seen them, and they won't see them the rest of the season, which is crazy for a rivalry. But Tampa
divisional, your schedule should be division heavy for the last month.
Yeah, the last
month of the season, you should be division heavy. The Devils should be playing the Rangers, the Islanders, the Hurricanes,
Penguins,
Flyers,
yeah,
Flyers. Like it should just be the last month of your season should just be divisional games, because that can completely throw all the playoffs asunder and everything can turn into a mess. I think that would make for great hockey at the very end.
Absolutely.
Devils have a home and home with the Rangers to end the season for playoff implications. Like holy crap, that would be like a play-in game for 2 games.
Yep.
There'd be fights in the stands. There'd be freaking fights in the streets. It would be fantastic. I would love every moment of it. I also love chaos, so
I know you and Ray, Steve were talking about it on Facebook Live, but Danny Briere's shithead son Carson, charged with 3 misdemeanors for what he did with the wheelchair incident on social media. We talked about it. The hockey players would be dumb. Just have any sort of common sense or any sort of just human decency in you.
Yes. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. You don't even need common sense. You don't even need common sense. You just need a little bit of human decency.
Yeah.
That is that's about as scummy as it gets. I can't even pretend to figure out what is going through his head as he carries a wheelchair up a flight of stairs, sits on it, and then throws it down the stairs. I don't know. It's not an office chair. It's not like some computer chair that somebody left there.
Yeah, and the girl, Sydney Baines, her story is very good. But she did file a complaint, and she's going to sue him, and she has every right to.
She should. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Do it.
They broke a $2,000 wheelchair, but there was some good stuff on her. She lost her legs, and she's trying to learn to walk, and it was just like how much of it you can't be more of a shithead. So
he's 23. He's 23 years old. He's not a teenager. He's not like some he's not some kid anymore, right?
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. He's an idiot. NHL salary cap could increase by more than $1 million next season, so possible uptick.
$1 million
related revenues exceeding expectations. Hopefully they're getting. So the cap could increase by about 4.5 instead of 1, which would be awesome for a lot of teams.
Yeah. Good for us.
Let's hope. We want the cap increasing. We want better players making more money. So,
can't wait to see what kind of horrible contract comes into the Pittsburgh organization because of that reason.
Well, you could then afford to get Sergei Bobrovsky and his $10 million.
Hey,
I hope so. I hope so.
And that Bob contract could turn into a Ricky DiPietro type of contract.
Even better. Even better.
Nothing like when your former roommate becomes GM. Get a sweet ass deal like that.
Yep. Rangers obviously we talked about it beat the Pens 6-0, but then they beat Predators 7-0 yesterday. Franchise record 6 goals in the first period. And they have, the only teams to post consecutive shutout wins by a margin of 6+ goals are the Rangers themselves. In 72-73, they had 3 games straight of 6 or more goals in a win. Keandre Miller.
You know what they didn't do that year in the 70s?
What? Win a cup?
Same thing they're not going to do this year is win a cup.
A-hole. I can't wait until we beat you guys. Keandre Miller, 4 points in that first period. He's the second defenseman all time to score that many in a period, along with Mikhail Sergachev last year, 4 points in a period. And then a bunch of hat tricks yesterday. Eichel, Boldy, Jesper Bratt.
Yep. Jesper Bratt.
Good stuff. And then Saturday, you had Hagel, Sebastian Aho, and Evander Kane all with hatties, as well as Friday's Owen Tippett hat tricks. So a lot of hat tricks this weekend was cool. And then Golden Knights single game record for assist. Pietrangelo with 4, as well as points by defenseman in the game. So a lot of
in their
big
storied
stuff coming this
history.
weekend.
Mm-hmm.
In their storied history.
Yes, their long storied history. I don't think I've ever scored a hat trick in all those seasons I skated out with Bone Storm and the other and Black Dynamite. I don't think I've ever had a hat trick.
No.
One of these games, the GM of Bone Storm is going to allow me to play.
Nope.
And show my offensive prowess.
I gotta send my scouts.
What to middle school floor
middle
hockey?
School floor hockey? Yes.
Shorts guy, I think this might be true. You're gonna correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Devils are the only team with 3 30-goal scorers
right now. I know
Yeah,
Heischer just got 30. So I guess it would be Nico just got it last night. Jack and probably does Timo Meyer have?
No, Brett.
Brett's got 30.
Meyer has over 30.
Brett
yes.
has 3. Yeah, Meyer's got over 32.
Well, I guess with their team. Sorry. Yeah, he's 34
for the whole
with
season?
with the Devils. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jack Hughes is 30. Jack Hughes is 37. Meyer is 34. Nico has 30. Brett has 30 with that hat trick last night. So, and then Dawson Mercer at 22.
Oh, sorry. Edmonton also has 3 guys with 30. Nugent Hopkins also has 31.
Of course, Edmonton would have 3 guys with 30. But they're not going to get past
I didn't realize, just out of curiosity.
Actually, sorry. Edmonton has 4 guys.
I haven't been paying much attention
technically
to statistics. I didn't realize that McDavid is also leading the goal scoring race by 10 goals.
Oh, yeah. 58.
He could score 70.
He's got 130. He has 134 points.
Mm-hmm.
So the
guy's otherworldly.
I'm gonna throw this out there. What would McDavid do playing in the East?
I don't know.
What would McDavid do playing in the East? Because the East is the harder conference.
Is he playing on the same team, this Edmonton team?
No, if he's playing in the East, then no.
No, but I'm saying, are you just taking Edmonton and putting them in the East, or are you just taking McDavid and sticking him on like the Penguins?
Right, so I don't think it matters. Okay, it doesn't really matter where you stick him because, I mean, he has Draisaitl, right? Who helps, but I don't think that he necessarily needs him.
Well, Draisaitl has 104 points. He's the second leading guy.
Yeah.
He's but it's 30 weird points
I feel like, I feel like even though they will share like assists and whatever on like goals, and maybe some of them are like real nice between each other, I feel like they basically, the two of them, gain points through osmosis just playing with each other. Like they don't have anything to do with the play per se. They just happen to touch the puck, but they're just so good that they're individually can make everything happen, whether it be like, okay, you got the secondary assist because it hit your skate to McDavid, who just gave the most ridiculous like cross ice pass for a one time or something along those lines. Yeah. I think a lot of that happens.
Who are they shooting against? Markstrom? Markstrom's numbers are crap.
Are we going back to when I was talking about McDavid in that Canadian conference and the COVID during the COVID Cup? Are we going to bring that up again? And that's just the entirety of the West now.
Yeah, I mean LA's not. Well, look at the West. So let's go to the goalies. So Vegas obviously has. I mean, now they have Quick, but Logan Thompson. Kings have Cal Pedersen, Quick, and now they have Phoenix Copley. Oilers, he doesn't shoot against his own goalie, but he'd wreck those guys anyway. Seattle, I mean, you have Martin Jones. Calgary, Markstrom's having a bad season. Demko in Canucks, bad season. Mm-hmm. Ducks with Gibson, who faces 50 shots a game, but
not even Gibson,
can't stop
it's just the Ducks.
Yeah,
it's the Ducks.
And then Sharks have Reimer.
We'll put it this way. I don't think he probably wouldn't have as many points, but he would have a lot of points. Still,
yeah, he would have a lot of points. But if he had to shoot against Vasilevsky, 3-4 times a season, I mean,
or if you look at Boston, right? If he's in Boston's division, playing in that division,
Allmark and Swayman are 1-3 in goals against average right now. Gustafson's second. Samsonov is 4. Sorokin is 5. You have Jake Ottinger at 6 with Dallas. It's West. Anderson is 7. You have Hill at 8. Vanacek is 9th. He's playing like crap right now. Shesterkin is 10th. And Georgiev is 11th. So, you've got a lot of the East goalies in the top 10 there. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the top 10 are East goalies that he sees relatively, few times in a season. He's shooting on goalies, that are at the bottom of the list. It's Markstrom is 21st in the league in goals against average.
Yeah.
Also, I think the bottom dwellers in the West are significantly worse than the bottom dwellers in the East.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though, I'll say, Philly and Columbus are pretty trash, but Anaheim, and Arizona, goalie, and Vancouver, and yeah, and well, oh, there it is. Jack Hughes recorded the longest shift in NHL history. 6 minutes and 2 seconds. Because Zub, I don't know how you say his name. It's either Zub or Zub. Got stuck on the ice for I think over 4.5 minutes in this game just now.
That sounds like a men's league shift.
Yeah.
That's a Martin Lynn shift right there. All the while, like passing the bench and calling for a change, but never actually going to the bench.
Steve, I'm coming.
And passing the puck right in front of my crease,
and
almost giving it up. Oh yeah.
You want to know a crazy stat? Since we're talking stats, that I found out recently that I thought was wild. Jake Gensel recently just scored his 400th career point, making him in the entire 2013 draft class the fastest player to reach 400 points, faster than Nathan MacKinnon.
He's faster to 400 points than MacKinnon?
Fewer games.
Wild.
Oh, fewer games. Okay.
That's what I mean by fastest.
Yeah, because MacKinnon has 736 points and 695. And, geez, where was he drafted?
3rd round.
Yeah, that's right. Shit.
He didn't make his NHL debut until 2017.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a loaded draft too. I mean, you look at some of these players. You got.
It's a loaded draft, and he did it in the fewest games out of everybody else on that list, which is I thought I would have never guessed. Would have never.
I thought it would have definitely been Max Domi, but.
Yeah, I would have too.
All right, let's finish up. A couple quick things. I had some trivia for you guys. Who has?
Go
ahead.
But before we get to trivia, I saved this and I totally forgot I had it until right now. I'm going to run this by you. This is the top 10 weirdest goalies in NHL history. Top 10 weirdest goalies. And I feel like I'm the authority that can speak about this because I'm me. Here we go. Number 10, Tuukka Rask. Number 9, Roman Cechmanov.
Cechmanic,
sorry.
I want to see where Brizgalov sits on this list.
8. He's on here, don't worry. Number 8, Tim Thomas.
Timmy T's weird guy.
He's weird.
He was really weird.
More crazy than weird.
Right. Number 7, from the 40s and the 50s, Turk Brada.
Yeah.
Number 6, Ed Belfour. Number 5, Glenn Hall.
Ed Belfour was more of an alcoholic than he was a weirdo.
Yeah, Ray Leo did ask, what qualifies someone as weird?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, first of all, we just playing the position causes us to be weird. Number 5 was Glenn Hall. Number 4, Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
Number 3, Ilya Brizgalov.
Wow, there's okay. Who's above him?
Number 2, your GM, Ron Hextall.
Yeah.
He's just violent.
And number 1, Rangers legend, Gillies Groton.
All right. Yeah.
Is there anyone else?
I think Brizgalov tops that list. I don't care. I don't care who's. If we're talking weird and not just like character, bold character, I guess, maybe. Weird Briskolov takes cake.
Oh my gosh, big time. Yeah, I saved that for this, and I had to fit that in before we ended.
Kucherov also with 100 points this season. His third time of a career. Who has the most Gordie Howe hat tricks?
Gordie Howe?
No.
I know.
Not.
I have no idea.
He is a coach in the NHL.
Brindamore.
Tocchet, number 18.
Yeah. Tocchet.
Brendan Shanahan
right.
with
I got
17.
something right.
Our boy, Pittsburgh legend, Ranger legend, Ryan Reeves just got his first ever Gordie Howe hat trick.
Oh, good for him.
Sutter had 17. Cam Neely had 12. Iginla had 11. Kachuk with 10. Gallant with 10. Paul Coffey with 9. Even the great Pavel Datsyuk had a Gordie Howe hat trick.
Does Billy Dean
Gordie
have
actually,
a Gordie Howe hat trick?
No.
I don't think so.
No. I've been in fights, but I don't score many goals. I am not good at that.
We know. Unless it's against me. As your goal.
Exactly. That is about it. What did I had one more thing.
How many did Gordie Howe have? How many Gordie Howe hat tricks did Gordie Howe have? Only 3.
3. Yep.
And it gets named after him. That's the greatness that he was.
Absolute legend. So
yeah.
You guys got anything else? We good?
I think that's it.
All right, let's see here. What do I? My beer, solid 4. Black Project Matador.
Same.
I like the chocolate in it.
For my heritage, I'm just gonna give it a 5. Hell yeah.
All right.
I like it. Schwim, take her home, you POS.
Oh, yeah.